On behalf of the University of Strathclyde, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you to this congregation for the conferment of degrees here in the Barony Hall. Today is a very special day in our university calendar. It's a graduation day, which makes it a day of celebration for our graduates, for all the family and friends, and indeed for all of the staff of the university. And I can't think of a better venue in which to start that celebration than here in the Barony. In the United States, they refer to these events as commencement ceremonies, as they use them to signify the beginning of a new journey as opposed to an ending. And it is in this spirit that we also celebrate graduations at the University of Strathclyde. Now, in a few moments, it will be my privilege to cap each of our graduates as their name is called out and they come up on stage to receive their awards. The capping tradition has its roots in ancient China, and it's recognised as a rite of passage and as a mark of achievement. And for each of our graduates once capped, this signifies that they are now part of a community of scholars at the University of Strathclyde. It can stretch back over 200 years to the Scottish Enlightenment, so they'll be in very good company. At the close of graduation, we have a reception in our nearby Lord Todd building, to which everyone is invited to come along and to celebrate. We also hope to have an academic procession from the Barony over to the Lord Todd. This will very much depend upon the weather, which I think now is looking 50-50, but we'll get an update on that towards the end of this afternoon's proceedings. In the meantime, I do hope that you enjoy the ceremony, and when you see your loved one come on stage to receive her or his award, I would strongly encourage you to celebrate. These occasions do not come round very often, and we have this hall all to ourselves, so make the most of it. I now formally declare that this congregation for the conferment of degrees is open, and invite Professor Douglas Brodie, the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, to present our graduates to receive their awards. Thank you.
Vice Principal, in the name of the University and by the authority of Senate, I present to you these students for the degree of Doctor of Education: William Don Barlow, John Paul Fitzpatrick, Fiona Gillian Minas, and for the degree of Master of Science in Advanced Professional Studies, Claire Louise Mullen. And in Advanced Residential Childcare, Erica Margaret Barr. Joseph Paul Holmes. Louise Morrison. Tracy Ann Ross. And in Applied Educational and Social Research, Georgia Komutu. Cordelia Zanti Demeter Sampson. And in Autism, Nicoletta Alexopoulou. Fahad Ali S. Al-Shiri. Lee Mary Balfour. Andrew Graham Foster. Ekaterine Karitinu. Owen Martin McGill. Anne Ryan. Zara Sheikh. Christina Sim-Onidu. Vasiliki Tizim-Opoulou. And in Chartered Teacher Studies, Stuart Alexander Curry. James Gerard McCluskey. And in Family Therapy and Systemic Practice, Sarah Jane Kay. And in Genealogical Studies, John Anthony Cleary. David Alexander Jack. Gemma Sims. And in Safety and Risk Management, Mark Benton. Catherine Ann Bryant. John Duncan. Mid Samshul Huda. Heather Livingston. Anthony Priest. Lawrence Bryan Snowden. Raliatu Osman Alirisku. Deran Brian Williams. And in Social Policy, Alan Cameron McCaskill. Joanne McFarlane. Stuart Robert Milne. And for the degree of Master of Education in Autism, Alan Cocker. Laura Jane Hill. Linda Helen Jarvie. Hannah Jane Murray. Gillian Neal. And in Education Studies, Hajar Essa Aldosari. And in Educational Leadership, Lee Anderson. William Harris. Karen Alexandra Lupton Garcia. Lindsay Fiona McNamee. Stuart Miller. Derek Andrew Timpany. And in inclusive education, Ree Jane Chisholm. Sarah Esther Cleland. Jane Minnelly. Rachel Janice Story. And in management and leadership in education, Alison Benny. And in philosophy with children with education studies, Lindsay May McLean. For the degree of Master of Social Work, Lisa Elaine Binney. Amy Ruth Cordiner. Gillian Isabel McGill. Lindsay Pollock. Ansar Saeed. And for the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Childhood Practice, Fiona Bark. Jane Bradley. Reagan Mary Connolly. Natalie Crawford. Pamela Ann Ellis. Ailey Suzanne MacDonald Hutton. Kimberly Johnston. Caitlin Kerr. Lynn Dinwoody Kerr. Kirsty MacArthur. Alicia McCulloch. Lindsay McGilvray. Kirsty McIntosh. Sharon McLarnon. Nadia Matheson. Karen O'Hara. Laura Parkinson. Karen Patterson. Lorraine Prestwell. Gemma Ray. Laura Ellen Reid. Marianne Sanderson. Fiona Sloss. Nadine Stewart. Louise Wallace. Nicole Warren. Antoinette Michelle Weir. And in Education and Social Services, Elaine May Mackenzie. Hazel Cooper. Kerry Ann McGee. Lisa Susan Mitchell. And in Social Work, Stephanie Fraser. Nirmala Ariana Zain. Aveen Flanagan. Nicola McCauley. Arlene Martin. Kate Susan Sarland. And in Applied Social Studies, Chloe Jane Allison. Amanda Woods. And in Humanities and Social Sciences, Caroline Burry. For the Postgraduate Diploma in Advanced Residential Childcare, James Robert Waite. And in Autism, Karen Lowe. In Safety and Risk Management, Scott Ward. In School Leadership and Management, Siobhan Moody. In Social Work, Roy Clark. Naomi Jane Kirkwood. Elizabeth McEwen. Elizabeth Christine Martin. And for the degree of Master of Social Work, Kirsty Lee Kerr. And for the degree of Master of Laws in Human Rights Law, Claire Elizabeth O'Donnell. And for the Postgraduate Diploma in Social Work, Omar Al-Haq.
Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, and most of all, Strathclyde University's newest graduates, it is my pleasure to once again warmly welcome you to our graduation ceremony here in the Barony Hall. Quite rightly, our graduates have been centre stage, and I would like to begin my address by congratulating all of you once again on your academic achievements. Your hard work has paid off, and this has now been recognised in front of your families, friends, and the staff who taught and supported you during your time at the university. And under the lights of this magnificent venue, we celebrate your efforts and your achievements. Well done indeed. Now, in a short while, at the close of graduation, you may be asked to join the academic procession as this leaves the Barony Hall. This invitation actually symbolises the fact that you are no longer students, but now full members of the academic community of Strathclyde, a community that numbers over 170,000 individuals. The class of 2017 is graduating at a time of considerable change in Scotland, in the United Kingdom and internationally, and challenges lie ahead for all of us. But as members of the Strathclyde family, you belong to a large and growing worldwide community with a shared ethos of tolerance and understanding, and a desire to make a positive difference. I hope that the memory of today is something that will stay with you wherever you go and whatever you choose to do in life. We will keep in touch with you through our alumni team, and I hope that you also keep in touch with us. Let us know what you are up to, what you think about what we are doing at the university, and what you would like to do to help future generations of students. As graduates of a socially progressive university, you have a competitive advantage, having been equipped with the skills, know-how and capacity to absorb knowledge together with the ability to positively influence and shape the world around you. Nelson Mandela once said that education was the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Do not underestimate this power or your responsibility to use it well. In Scotland, we are fortunate in having a higher education system which is internationally respected, and as a society we are quite right to invest in it. Education broadens the mind and creates opportunities for individuals and for society. However, education itself does not confer rights. The opportunities that education gives each of us also carries with it a responsibility to use what we have learned wisely and for the good of others. A sense of duty should come readily to graduates of this university. As Strathclyders, we only have to look to the achievements of those who have gone before us for our inspiration. To John Anderson, our founder, who established this university for the good of mankind. To the world's first oil man, James Paraffin Young. To the missionary and explorer, David Livingstone. To John Logie Baird, who did such pioneering work on the development of television. In the present day, we look to Dame Ailey Shangiolini, a pioneer in Scottish justice as the country's first female Solicitor General and later its first female Lord Advocate. And to Sir Tom Hunter, one of the most successful entrepreneurs in Scottish history and a philanthropist who has used his wealth to the great benefit of others around the world. I am sure that you have been given lots of advice on how best to plan your life. Some of this advice you will accept, some you will rightly reject, but mostly you will have to learn for yourself. Robert Louis Stevenson put it well when he said, "Don't judge each day by the harvest you reap, but by the seeds that you plant." Now, to reach this point in your lives today, each of you will have travelled a different journey. For some, the path will have been relatively smooth. For others, this may have been more challenging. However, I am certain of one thing, that none of you would be here without the active support of your family and friends. They have picked you up when you have been down, they have encouraged you when you have needed it, and many will be here today proudly watching as you cross this stage with broad smiles and the odd tear in their eye. Now, they are celebrating today, not just because you're almost off the payroll, but because you carry with you their hopes, their wishes and confidence for a successful career. For the last half hour or so, their applause has rung in your ears as you each in turn cross the stage to collect your awards. I would now like to invite all of our graduates to show their appreciation for the support received from their family and friends. I touched earlier on some of the key figures who have helped create and shape the University of Strathclyde. And you can tell a lot about the values of an organisation by looking at its roots. Strathclyde traces its lineage back to 1796, when Anderson brought it into being, the only Scottish university founded during the Age of Enlightenment and embodying the Enlightenment principles of reason, tolerance and equality. Anderson's belief in useful learning and his commitment to taking knowledge and using this for the greater good is the motivating force which gives Strathclyde University its momentum today. This can be seen in our pioneering law clinic, where our students provide support and representation to people who cannot afford legal advice. And it can be seen in our business school, which was recently named the UK Business School of the Year in the prestigious Times Higher Education Awards. It can also be seen in our £89 million Technology and Innovation Centre, which is transforming the way in which academics collaborate with business, industry and the public sector to bring global competitive advantage to Scotland. And this is a tangible sign of the university's commitment to world-class research and ensuring that outcomes have maximum benefit to society and to the economy. These represent a small sample of the many innovative projects being led by our world-class staff and students in taking new knowledge and using it to solve problems in industry, in the classroom and in the boardroom. I'm especially pleased to note that we are developing our campus to enable us to do even more. Strathclyde Business School's flagship building has recently been transformed with a £23 million investment. And we have a £31 million Sports Health and Wellbeing Centre being created, along with a £20 million district energy network under construction. And we're also starting work on a £60 million learning and teaching facility, bringing our total investment in our estate to more than £600 million in the last 10 years. Other highlights in humanities and social sciences over the last year include Professor David Kinloch of Humanities, who was shortlisted in the Poetry Book of the Year category of the Saltire Literary Awards. Strathclyde Law Clinic's Executive Committee won the Team of the Year category in the Herald Society Awards. Professor John Riley of Psychological Sciences and Health led a high-profile study which challenged conventional thinking about physical activity in children, finding that this may start tailing off as early as the age of 7, rather during adolescence, as is widely believed. The Faculty Centre for Lifelong Learning is leading Strathclyde's Age-Friendly Academy, which is promoting the contribution of older people in the workplace and in society. This year, our Confucius Institute for Scotland Schools was appointed a Model Confucius Institute and is now only one of 40 from a total of 500 institutes worldwide to have been conferred with this status, which confirms its role as a world leader in the teaching of Chinese language and culture. We recently launched the Institute for Inspiring Children's Futures, which is led by our Centre for Excellence for Looked After Children in Scotland and the Centre for Youth and Criminal Justice. This institute has been established to support children and young people around the world in achieving their potential in life. Education alumna Amy Buchan won the General Teaching Council for Scotland's George D. Gray Award for the best assignment by an education student studying in Scotland. And these are just some of the many contributions being made by our staff and students across the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. Strathclyde is being increasingly recognised as a place where things happen, and this is why our graduates are so highly prized by companies and organisations looking to recruit the best talent to drive their businesses forward. Scotland punches above its weight across the board, and the future of Scotland will be built upon the quality of its graduates. Regardless of their discipline, all of our students learn how to be innovative, enterprising and creative, and they make a real difference when they go out into the workplace. So wherever your career takes you, always remember that as a Strathclyde graduate, useful learning carries with it responsibilities that go beyond academic scholarship. And finally, let me offer my sincerest congratulations to you all once again on your achievements, and I hope that you enjoy the remainder of what is a very special day. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that now concludes the formal part of this afternoon's proceedings, so I hope that you all enjoyed the ceremony and you'll take away very many happy memories from today. As I mentioned, we have a reception over in our Ward Todd to which everyone is invited, and I've just been given a positive signal from the back of the hall that the weather has stayed pleasant enough that we can have an academic procession over to the Ward Todd. So I'll take this opportunity to ask Strathclyde's newest graduates to join the academic procession. And ladies and gentlemen, if I could ask you to remain seated until the academic procession passes, then immediately follow us over to the Ward Todd to the reception. I now formally declare that this congregation for the conferment of degrees is closed.